I know Charlie Crist. Charlie Crist wasn't really a friend of mine. I promise you, Rick Scott is no Charlie Crist. And that's a compliment. I'll speak honestly because I know that there's supposed to be Republicans and Democrats and all this partisanship. I was the Speaker of the House when Charlie was governor. Okay? So I also ran against Charlie Crist a year and a half after that. And I am sure that, you know, he's an, I guess, okay guy to hang out with and be around on a personal level. So I'm not speaking about him personally now. I'm speaking to you about him as a leader. I'm speaking to you about him as a political figure. Charlie Crist set this state back perhaps a decade in just 4 years in office. When Charlie Crist took over as governor of the state of Florida, we were the envy of the country in terms of our educational reforms. We had a vibrant and growing economy. We were proud to invite people to come to Florida and meet with our political leadership, and we knew whether they agreed with them or not, they would be impressed and they would be attracted to our state. In the 4 years that he was there, and the 2 years that I served alongside him as the Speaker, I can say this to you unequivocally, Charlie Crist as a governor was an embarrassment. He had no depth of knowledge on any of the critical issues that confronted our state. He had no interest in solving any of the major issues. You could consistently find Charlie Crist more interested in figuring out what the latest poll said, irrespective of its long-term consequences. He single-handedly undermined, for purposes of being popular in the media, a number of educational reforms that have placed this country at the state at the forefront of our country in accountability. He almost brought the entire utilities industry at our state to its very knees. Not because he was fighting for consumers, but because he was appointing people to our Public Service Commission that in essence put in place policies that lifted and increased the price of utilities for everyday people. On issue after issue, he was more interested in figuring out what talking point he can come up with. Let me tell you guys something, I don't say that lightly. I serve with many people in the United States Senate who I don't agree with, but I will tell you right now are informed, engaged, and active advocates for their viewpoint, irrespective of whether they're right or wrong. But I am telling you that for this state to give Charlie Crist another chance at the governor's mansion would be like going back and losing the last 10 years of progress. There was not a single significant problem before the state that you could count on him to help solve. Not one. And then I ran against Charlie Crist. And I'm telling you that he was, at one point in that race, claimed to be the most conservative person in that race. And to imagine that some human being could transform in his rhetoric so rapidly in 4 years. Look, we all change our mind about something now and then. But about everything? On every topic of importance. Carlos Lopez-Canteri earlier this year had an interesting observation, which I found to be true. He was once a Republican, who then ran as an independent, is now a Democrat. He was talking about traveling to Cuba. We thought he had one more party change now. So I'm pretty confident that no one in this room is thinking about voting for Charlie Crist. But I hope we do everything we can. I would say to you that the outcome of the governor's race is more important than most of the federal national elections that you hear talked about. Because our state is benefiting from the positive policies that this governor has put in place. I travel all over this country to help other candidates. I was in Chicago last week. I can't tell you how many people are from that state are telling me, I'm a Florida resident. They're moving here. They're bringing their money and at least 6 months and a day of their time. And the reason why they're coming here is because this is a friendly place to move to, a friendly place to do business in, a good place to raise your family in. They wouldn't have said that 4 or 3 years ago, 5 years ago, when Charlie Crist was in the governor's mansion. We cannot afford to go back to that. We don't have time to lose on this. And electing Charlie Crist would not just be the loss of the governor's mansion, it would be a catastrophic development for our state.